Hey, what's going on, guys? Me, DULCIFYZ, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be reacting to the 2026 NFL Draft. I have not seen a single thing yet. I have some expectations in mind, but as you know, draft night gets a little crazy. I just got back from church here, and I realized that, oh shoot, the draft is happening, and I have to record a bunch of videos for my main channel, and then I thought, you know what? I've had a couple reminiscing moments the other day. I was on YouTube, and but I play Madden all the time. I was like, you know what? I'm a little bored of YouTube. Ain't nothing going on. The only one I really watch is my goddess Matthew Maher, Goat, Throat. No, I'm stopping there. But the idea here is that we're going to be reacting to the draft. We are coming back banging with videos, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Madden, Minecraft kind of, like very casual stuff. I have no idea what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm just gonna do it because why not? So yeah, today is gonna be video number 1, and we're gonna be reacting to the draft. And let's get into it, yeah. So as you know, I was indulging myself a little bit in some Mike Vrabel content. Hopefully they didn't leak a photo of him and this chick kissing 6 years ago at a New York City bar. I really hope not. Ooh. I don't know about all of that, but we ain't here for none of that. As you guys know, JPA Football, shout out to him. He always somehow posts draft picks like 5 minutes before they actually happen. So good thing I didn't watch it this year, because he normally spoils it. Anywho, let's get into it. So as you know, the NFL draft happens tonight. Today's April 23rd, and there's always these rumors of what might happen. We've seen some crazy things. Shedeur Sanders slid to 6. Packers take Jordan Love. Jaguars trade up and take Travis Hunter. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So I want to react and get my raw live reaction. I have no idea what's upcoming, but let's see. I don't have any particular interest because Green Bay does not have a first-round draft pick. Sucks. It's tragic pneumatic, really. Semi-automatic. But the good news is that we did get Micah Parsons out of it, so I am not going to complain whatsoever. Let's see. First overall pick, Raiders have selected quarterback Fernando Mendoza. If you guys watched the Natty, I'll be honest with you, I did not watch any Indiana game. I've been watching highlights. I didn't really watch them live, and I do that because my boy Camaro Calitanza is a diehard Indiana Hoosier fan because he goes to Indiana University. Yeah, I'm actually flying there in 2 weeks for his graduation, so very cool stuff. But yeah, man, I think that this was just something that we've always seen, and kind of let's take a look around, what people say and all that jazz. So it looks like once again JPA announcing early, but we can't, and nobody can say they're surprised by Mendoza being picked here. All right. Everyone keeps saying it's like massive unfollowing day. Everyone's got to unfollow him for 4 hours. But yeah, the Fernando Mendoza pick I think was a no-brainer. Like I don't see any other decision going here. So let's just kind of move on with this. But I think there's an opportunity for him to fit right in. And the Raiders, have been kind of a culture shock lately. Not a lot's been going on in that organization. They traded up for they traded for Geno Smith last year, which kind of didn't walk too well. Whether that's the fault of the O-line or whether it's the fault of the team and the management, whatever. But the Raiders, if you haven't been keeping up on NFL news, have been making some outstanding off-season moves in free agency. Like half of the Packers went there basically. So I think you'd fit right in, and I think the Raiders are a team to watch upcoming. What do I think is going to happen next year for them? I don't know. Like, I don't have oh yeah, they're going to be fantastic, but, I don't think they're going to be too bad. Now, what was very interesting, they did acquire Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins has a pretty big contract if, it ever reaches that level, but I don't think people really know the terms of that. It's not all that, unless they choose to. But I think it's very smart for them to have Kirk Cousins, and the reason why I'm saying that is, a lot of people say he fell off and all that, but let's not forget that Kirk Cousins actually was like him for a couple of years, especially with the Minnesota Vikings. So if Mendoza if Mendoza can sit behind Kirk and learn from him, just same way like Jordan Love learned from Aaron Rodgers, I think that's a lot better. Because the NFL, I feel like, kind of has like a quarterback problem. Like they throw a rookie quarterback in, it's like, all right, you got to perform year 1, year 2, or you're kind of out of here. We've seen it over and over again with the guys like Justin Fields. We've seen it happen with Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? The Brown, I don't even know what's going on in Cleveland. They got Deshaun Watson. They had Joe Flacco at one point. They have whoever that guy is they drafted in the 3rd round, Shedeur Sanders. So, yeah, a lot of uncertainty, but, you know, I could talk about the Raiders forever, so let's go on with the rest. David Bailey goes number 2 overall. So, to the Jets. I think that's cool, you know, because I think he was always projected really to go to the Jets. I think they even said out loud. The only other pick here I would have seen happen would be Reese, but you know, I think that this is not a bad pick, honestly. I think it'll fit in with the scheme. You know, the Jets kind of taken a step back, you know, traded Quinton Williams, traded Sauce Gardner, but there's a lot of rebuilding that needs to happen, and I think they need to rebuild it the right way, and I'm not upset whatsoever over those things because, yeah, might as well acquire some picks for this guy, and eventually, I mean, you got to figure out your quarterback situation in New York. You know what I mean? So if you don't figure that out, I mean, I know Aaron Glenn said Geno Smith's going to take him to the promised land, but I don't know about it. All right, 3rd overall, Jeremiah Love goes to Arizona. I saw this coming. You know, I know there's a lot of chatter back and forth. What if the Giants fall, they'll take him in. You know, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that Jeremiah Love is one of the most athletic players in the whole class. I think that if you just watch any of his tape, that he's really top-notch. The only thing is that you're just in this weird funk. You know what I mean? You're in this weird funk because I don't even know what's going on in Arizona. Like, who is your quarterback? Kyler Murray goes to the Vikings. You have Jacoby Jones, I guess, who you're rocking with, who apparently wants a big pay bag now. And running back at 3rd overall when you had guys like James Conner and co. I don't know. I know he's athletic and everything. I don't know for the Cardinals' sake. There's a lot of other things going on, and I don't know if this would have been the best. So, yeah, Reese, you know, I feel it could have been a good pickup, bolster that defense more, but Arizona, I just feel like it's kind of a mess right now. And Jeremiah Love, I know he was like the best player on the board, but is that I mean, time will tell. You guys, we'll review this video, you know, in a year now saying, like, is Alex Wong dumb or smart? But yeah, let's draft a running back when the rest of the team is cheeks. You know, yeah, what are they doing with James Conner, right? So I think there could have been a better pick. But, you know, in all reality, I think they would have went this way regardless. Carnell Tate goes to Tennessee. Wow, okay. That is not what I expected, to be honest with you. I really thought if Reese was going this low or this far down, unless there's a reason I don't know that he's, you know, sliding, but I don't know. Same thing with Tennessee. I get it though. You know, I'm not mad at this pick. You know, their defense was all right last year. It wasn't anything great. It wasn't anything like piss poor. The offense needs some help. So I definitely don't hate the Carnell Tate pick. I think this is okay, to be honest with you. I know some people may say like he reached or whatnot, but you know, again, time will tell. Giants are taking Arvell Reese with the 5th pick. So Reese falls to the Giants. After trading away DeMarcus Lawrence, right? No, it's not fraud. Sorry, I didn't look it up. I just paused it for a sec. Dexter Lawrence. After they traded away Dexter Lawrence, you know, I think this is a good pick. You know, the Giants have something real solid going on. You know, they don't actually have the perception to the public that they are like a really good team, but I gotta tell you, they're moving up. I know that the Clayvon Thibodeau, you know, I don't know what the whole situation is with that, but you know, I think with him and just give Abdul Carter some time, and I think this would be a nasty duo, you know. So let's see here. I think Styles goes to the Commanders. Wow. Okay, we have a trade. This is actually not what I was expecting. The Chiefs have traded up the pick 6 with the Browns of selecting Mansour Delane. Chiefs get pick 6. Browns get 9, 74, and 101. I feel like he would have possibly been up, but I could see the... And, you know, they could have taken this with the 9th pick, but I see them, you know, being safe and drafting him. I'm cool with this because they traded Trent McDuffie to the Rams, right? Their, like, best cornerback. So taking Mansour-Delane here, I think it's a good pick. I think that's cool. And good win for the Browns. They pick up a couple extra picks on top of the 3rd and I think that's a 5th. Sonny Styles goes to the Commanders. All right, just as I was saying. So, great pick. I always saw this coming. I think it was going to go this way, no matter what. I just had like a gut feeling. I think this is a good pickup. I think this is a really good pickup. So, drafting 8th, let's see. Jordan Tyson goes to the Saints. I like that, honestly. Caleb Downs would have been the only other person kind of in my mind here. Really at the front. Now, I like that for a reason that, you know, I was sports betting on some Saints games last year, and I was really watching Tyler Shuck, and I've never been a fan of Tyler Shuck. And I was watching the kid, I was like, all right, this kid's kind of solid, to be honest with you. He won me my bet. But, yeah, I just think that he has potential. You kind of saw it last year over Spencer Rattler, in my opinion. Just give this guy some weapons, and I think there's a chance he balls out. You know, Patrick Mahomes level, I don't know about all that, but like a good young Derek Carr, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Again, only the future has in store, but I gotta say that I'm alright with that. To be honest with you, I think that's a good pick. Spencer Fano goes 9th to the Browns. Okay, Reese is still on the board, or not Reese. Downs is still on the board. Wow. All right. I did not see Cleveland taking an offensive lineman here. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, when you have a guy like Caleb Downs, who, you know, was, like, very freakish when in college, I'm okay with this, to be honest with you. You know, because obviously the quarterbacks need some help, and Cleveland's always been known for their defense, to be honest with you. It's just been the lack of offense. I mean, you got guys like Myles Garrett on the other side. You got Carson Schwessinger. You have Graham on the D-line. So you have some solid people there. So I think that, yeah, going with the O-line, that's fine. Giants take Francis. Wow, they do not take Downs. Wow, okay, he's sliding a little bit. Oh my goodness. But again, Giants bolstering up the offense. I think their defense is solid. It's young. It needs a lot of developing, but you know, give it some time, and I think that it'll pan out. But I like this. I like the offensive pick here in terms of like what they need. Right, this was from the Dexter Lawrence trade, but I don't know. How do you kind of like again? How do you pass on Downs, right? All right, let's see. The Cowboys have traded up one spot with the Dolphins and are drafted Caleb Downs. All right, well, that is another interesting trade. We have pick 12, so they moved one spot up and gave up, I think that's Green Bay's pick, 2/5, if I'm not mistaken. Huh, who lets Caleb Downs go to the Cowboys? That's very interesting. I did not see that, to be honest with you. But I'll take that. You know, I think that that's a good pick for Dallas. This is 0 games of football in 3 years. That's crazy. Wow! Here we go! Here we go! Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you tune in to watch the NFL Draft, because this is getting crazy. Holy! Where did the Dolphins pick go? Oh. Okay, hold on. We have a weird skip here. So the Dolphins take Caden Proctor with the 12th pick. Okay, I see that. I think that's fine. You know, Malik Willis balled out for Green Bay. I love Malik Willis. You know, he was my backup too in my franchise, and we had J.J. McCarthy, and he got hurt. And Malik Willis came in the divisional round, made the comeback and won, went to the championship and won, and then we're down like 28-7 in the Super Bowl, and we came back and won. So, you know, Miami's clearly going all in on the Malik Willis the signing, and I think that, yeah, just get this, bolster this guy some line, the line, and I'd like to see him take a receiver in the draft. You know, like again, Mekhi Lemons right there, because who's Malik Willis throwing to? It's literally like Devon Achane and company, and yeah. But let's talk about the 13th pick. Sorry, it's kind of out of order for some reason, but Rams take Ty Simpson with the 13th pick. You know, they always talk about this, and even the Rams GM told him to go to the draft to declare for the draft this year. And throwing 28 touchdowns, I really liked Ty Simpson, and I felt personally he was going to be a great pick in LA, especially, you know, you have MVP Matt Stafford coming off an incredible season. Let him develop, and I do. All right, you guys might roast me in the future, but come back to this video. I do think Ty Simpson will be the future of the Rams after Matt Stafford. But whoa, I didn't expect this. Yeah, again, sucks now, but in 1 to 3 years, we'll see him at his best. I do think I like this pickup. I always just knew he was going to the Rams, but I didn't know 13th overall they were gonna select him. That's crazy. Let's see what else we got going on here. Rams head coach Sean McVay told Matt Stafford say that they draft Ty Simpson, made it clear it's for whenever Stafford decides to retire. All right, well, that's a good thing to know. Ravens select O-line with the 14th pick. Okay, that's fine. I mean, Lamar, he's been getting hurt. I think he needs a little help, and no hate against that. I'm kind of a casual too, so sorry if I'm not familiar with some of these guys. Ruben Bain goes to the Bucks. I like this pick. The Bucks, I think it got nice stuff going for them. Their defense was a little lackluster last year, in my personal opinion. And offensively, you just get Baker cooking. Because at one point, we all were chanting Baker Mayfield MVP. All right? Don't forget about that, right? I don't know what happened on that horrific collapse into missing the playoffs. Disaster. After, what did it start? 6-1, and they finished 8-9. Or 9-8, was it? But I think that grab some offensive pieces later, you know. Obviously, Mike Evans left, but you still got Godwin. You have a Ibuka. So you got some players there. You got Irving and everybody. So Tristan Wirfs on the O-line. So I like the defensive pick here. I think that's good. Kaiten Sakid goes to the Jets. Wow. Makai Lemon. I really thought Lemon was actually going to fall to the Jets. With the 16th pick to go tight end. Huh. Terrible pick. Seems like not a lot of people are. Did McCollum commit a crime or something? Jets made 2 great picks. It's not, I mean, again, we don't know. The Jets obviously need some help at the tight end department. You know, if my life depended on naming a Jet tight end right now, besides that one guy, I only know it because I made a Jets theme team on Ultimate Team. A couple of those guys, actually. I do know some Jets guys. But I felt like there could have been a better pick. I'm not in love with this pick. You know, and it seems like a lot of people have that overall consensus too. But Makai Lemon, though, I mean, you have Garrett Wilson and whoever else is on that team. I don't know if this would have been. Yeah, Mason Taylor. That's the gentleman's name. And Ruckett, too. All right, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll go. I think Blake Miller. Holy reach. All this to stop Micah Parsons. That's my Green Bay Packers guy. I'll give him a little heart. I don't know. Why is my thing like? I'm going to give it a little heart emoticon. Lions were depressing. I'm a Packers fan. I don't like the Lions, but they were a little depressing last year. I feel like, especially after the year before that, you know, NFC Championship, and we're pretty stellar. And they have great pieces. The defense is just kind of chopped, in my opinion. Offense, I don't necessarily think it was a problem. I think it was just kind of getting everyone reacclimated to a new offensive coordinator. A lot of people don't necessarily, you know, take that into account as much as, oh, I don't have, or an offensive coordinator leaves, or defensive coordinator, and they don't really take into account how much of a difference that really makes for a team. And the Lions, I think, are just a perfect show for that. I mean, you talk about Ben Johnson going to the Bears, and look at instantly when he gets to the Bears, it was like insane, like wizardry season. You know what I mean? But it's nothing bad. I don't think, you know, I mean, only time will tell. Maybe it's a bit of a reach, but if this is where the Lions are picking, it's where the Lions are picking. Jeremiah Love will now be the highest paid running back in NFL history from a contractual standpoint, and now the most guaranteed money in NFL history for running back, all without playing a single NFL snap. You know, it's so funny, guys, when you keep, like, putting it in perspective like this. I mean, the running back position is so, like, churn heavy, right? It's kind of a business term we use, but you know, you really go to show that you always flip through these guys, right? And if you take the average amount of money, like, for example, Brandon Aubrey just signed a 4-year, $28 million deal, most for a kicker in NFL history. It's basically like a running back type contract, and for the best kicker, you know, I'll 100% take that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if Anderson, if you got generational ball knowledge and he actually has 53 million guaranteed for 4 years, holy! And you're talking Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, you're talking Derrick Henry. Wow. Okay. Cool. Caleb Banks goes to the Vikings. First real reach. Lover interim GM now. Generational board shaping up for receiver needy teams in the 20s. Insane reach. I'm surprised Makai Lemon still hasn't went yet. Reach. Bro played 90 snaps last year. I mean, seems like I don't know too much about this guy. I don't really have much to say, to be honest. That's funny. As a Viking fan, please kill me. Okay. Explain to me this in cheeseburgers. Poverty franchise. What a fucking reach. Yeah, I guess no one's really cool with this pick. Again, I don't know too much about him, but, you know, a little help on the defensive end. You know, you got some guys who are getting older there, and I think they got rid of that. Oh, they got rid of Javon Hargrave, who came to Green Bay, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Or I might be just thinking my franchise, because he's also on my franchise team before he was actually signed. But, you know, replacing Hargrave, if it is a reach, I don't know. Again, time will tell. This is where you come into this football space and, what defines a reach, right? If they're picking 18th overall, this is their guy and this is who they want. They draft him and he balls out. Is that a reach, right? It's like, it's the terminology is a little slewed nowadays on, what's good and what's bad. Is that it? Where are the rest of the picks? Oh, the draft is happening as I'm recording. Oh, I thought the draft was over. Oh, shoot. I'm not going to be able to finish it. Okay. Whoops. All right, let's go into this. All right. Monroe Freeling goes 19th overall to the Panthers. I'm surprised Lemon didn't go. If he didn't go to the Panthers series, he's definitely going to the Steelers. I mean, give Aaron Rodgers, maybe if he. Well, what's up with this thing? You're playing, right? You're definitely playing Aaron Rodgers because, he's always doing this thing each season. He's like, I don't know if I want to play or not, and he's their final play. I hate this, I think the Panthers have very young potential. They've been seen as a pretty bad franchise, but they won some incredible games last year. In the regular season, I think they beat the Rams, right? They didn't do it in the playoffs, but they beat them in the regular season. That game was generational. They got a young offense, young defense. I know they're kind of giving up on Bryce Young, and last year gave them a little bit of hope. I think same thing that the quarterback epidemic I was telling you about before. Just give Bryce Young some time, and he'll flourish pretty well here. Wow, the Eagles have traded up to pick 20 with the Cowboys and are selecting Makai Lemon. Bro, I'm telling you, AJ Brown, you are a New England Patriots. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you guys let Makai Lemon fall to the Eagles. Yo, I'm telling you, man, that Howie is probably the greatest. Howie Roseman is the greatest GM I've ever seen in my life. He has somehow retained a generational talent, offense and defense, and always makes the right picks, fleeces teams, and then also well controls cap space. I don't think a lot of people understand it because I had to do a lot of research on this. But I think understanding cap space and being able to navigate. I mean, you have Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, now Makai Lemon, but of course I think AJ Brown. I mean, look, finally no more AJ Brown post. AJ Brown, you're a Patriot. And literally, as I said, and of course, the Eagles were going to trade up and do it because why not, right? Why not? What did they give up? 114 and 137. So, is that a third and a fourth? That's fair. I say that's fair, honestly. The Steelers have selected Max Ihenacre with the 21st pick. A lot of O-linemen. I feel like a lot of O-linemen have been. I don't know. We'll see if he pans out. They're drafting Carson Beck later, are they? We'll see. I know they were pissed that Lemon was gone. Bro, it definitely is those times in Madden where you always think oh, I'm going to get this guy and he's going to fall, and then some guy takes him before you. You're like, oh, crap. Or I normally do this thing where I keep trading back and then accidentally trade back too much and then my guy gets picked and I'm just like, damn it. Give Aaron Rodgers some more time. He's old. He needs it in the pocket. But who is he throwing to? DK Metcalf and Denzel Washington, Pat Freiermuth, and I'd like to see them take a wide receiver. I think at some point in this draft, I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers have someone else to throw to. Or maybe it'd be not Kenny Pickett. Who's the Steelers' backup? Whatever the guy's name is. I think that would be very interesting to see. Chargers select Mizador with this Honey second pick. I think this is fine. Again, I have no hate against this. The Chargers... My thing is the Chargers have, on paper, a excellent team. It's just that they always underperform. This is kind of my big thing. And I saw it from the the playoff game against New England. I really thought they were going to pull out the win, but it's just like the offensive could not get anything going. And they got, too many weapons, and in itself, Justin Herbert, who's a fantastic quarterback and has been playing at MVP almost level play like last year. And I just don't think a lot of people recognize it as well because it wasn't very flashy, but he's made some great plays. And I don't think he gets enough, here comes the Herbert glaze, but I don't think he gets enough recognition for that. But defensively here, we'll see if that pans out. I'm not bad at it. I just think offense, kind of would have been the thing. Because the Chargers always like notorious for having a bad O-line. Like outside of Joe Alt, who else is on that O-line, right? Let's see. Malachi Lawrence with the 23rd pick. So they double dip on defense in the first round. Downs and Lawrence. I like this pick. Bounce over Zion is crazy. Yeah, maybe. Don't worry, Mike. Don't worry, Micah Parsons. Malachi Lawrence is here now. I like this pick. They always talk about over and over and over how they need DN, and they traded Micah Parsons, right? But you got Quinnen Williams, you got Micah Parsons, you have Malachi Lawrence now, and that I didn't mean to say Micah Parsons. I meant to say whoever the other edge rusher is. I don't remember his name right now. But the Packer guy. You got Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, and you have Lawrence now. I think that's going to be pretty solid. I think they have a good, solid D-line. He's a fellow UCF Knight over here from Florida. I think that's going to be it, lads. All right, got another pick. The Browns are taking KC Conception with the 24th pick. Okay. I like that. Same things. I told you. What did I tell you guys earlier in the comments? Who's going to throw him the ball? I like this pick. Browns receivers. I mean, Jerry Jeudy has been kind of washed for a minute. He's not washed, but he's just not been the best. Like number one caliber football player, but I don't hate this pick. I think I'm okay with that. I think that give whoever it is throwing him the ball some weapons and he'll make it happen. But yeah, I think that's good. Let me take a little pause here because I didn't know it was draft still happening. By the time I sat down, and we'll reconvene. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just scrolled on TikTok for 30 minutes. But all the picks are in. Let's do it. Bears on the clock are taking Dylan Thieneman with pick 25. I could see that. What's his face? Left, right? Yes, Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker. I know they both left in free agency, right? If that was not last year. So this is a great pick. So I hate the Bears more than anything in my life. Bro's going to get dunked on by Matthew Golden. He's definitely going to be dunked on by Matthew Golden. But good pick. I like that. Texans are traded up with the Bills. So the Bills end up trading back in the draft, and they select an O-lineman for C.J. Stroud. Another O-lineman. I actually thought this would be more crazier. I'm surprised. Where's Peter Woods? He's still been on the board for a fat minute. I don't know if they had to trade up for that, but give C.J. Stroud some help. I think that's fine. Because, you really think about it, like, back then in the NFL, it always used to be, like, really good O-linemen. Didn't have, like, crazy sacks. And Myles Garrett broke the sack record. But, yeah, a lot of these quarterbacks are just under so much pressure. And C.J. Stroud was really struggling. And I've always been a day one C.J. Stroud professional glazer. So I want to see him pop off. And with that being said, is this the guy? You don't know. Again, we'll pan out. The Dolphins end up trading back up into the draft here with the 49ers to select cornerback Chris Jones. Huh. Intriguing. All right. I like this pickup, honestly. I mean, the Dolphins need some help, as you know. Yeah, what's the trade? Does somebody know what the trade is? Let's take a look. A third. We got a fourth back and already have 7 picks. I mean, this guy's a Dolphins fan. It says professional ball knower. So the fact that he says we got a fourth back and already have 7 picks in the top 100. All right. I think that's fine. If they really do have 7 picks in the top 100, I mean, to trade up and take this guy over who? The 49ers? I like that. I think that's fine. Again, I don't know too much about him, but waning out here. Patriots shit up with the Bills again. So the Bills have done another trade. Now Babe rolls into the press conference. Yeah. Another O-lineman. Super Bowl looked very disappointing. This draft is kind of very O-lineman. A lot of O-linemen's being taken. Oh, Campbell has buns. I'll take it. I think that's all right. I'd like them to have more defense. I think would have been ideal, but that's all right. Steelers fumbles with the Cowboys on the board at 20. The Steelers run the phone with Mekhi Lemon for him to take him at 21. Howard, the Eagles tried calling the man while he was on the phone with the Steelers. He quickly realized what was happening. Somehow got on the phone with their division rival Dallas and acquired the pick, effectively jumping Steeler and stealing Mekhi Lemon. I told you guys, I told you guys, Howie Roseman's on some demon time stuff. Because, oh man, generational fumble by Pittsburgh, man. If I was a Steelers fan, I'd be pissed right now, man. I'd actually be pissed. The Eagles moving like Pusha. Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are just, they're always dominated every time. This pisses me off more. I agree. That's crazy. Imagine you're on the phone. You have two NFL teams calling you at the same time. Like, we're going to pick you, man. That's crazy. Mekhi Lemon must be having a field day. There we go. Peter Woods. I like this pick tremendously. I think, Chris Jones getting old. If I'm not mistaken, they run a 4-3 defense. So having two D linemen on the field at the same time is going to be, not bad, except for Delaney pick. I like Mansur Delaney. I think this would be I think this was a good draft so far in the first round for Kansas City. Jets trade back up with the 49ers. Like Omar Cooper. What a round. The Jets have had 3 first-round picks this draft. And let's see, what's the trade? We got nothing good. An extra pick. Jets trade a 33rd and 176 for 30. So you trade up 3 spots and then you give up a 179. I don't think that's bad whatsoever, considering I told you guys earlier, outside of Garrett Wilson, who is Geno Smith throwing to. Does Geno Smith come back to his prime? I don't know. The Titans have traded with the Bills. This is their 3rd time trading back, right? Oh, the Bills traded 3. Yeah. Traded down 3 straight times out of the first round. And the Titans trade up and select Falk. I think it's a good pickup for them. Considering they acquired Parnell Tate earlier, offense and defense in the first round, I like that. I think that was a good pickup. And last but not least, the Seahawks are drafting Jardian Price to finish off the first round. Right. You got your Kenneth Walker replacement. I think that was a great pickup. I really like this pick here. I think that Price is going to be a great dual threat. I don't, it depends on your team. You know what I mean? Like Packers, we swapped some guys out, but it's mostly the Josh Jacobs show. I really like the Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet duo. So I think that having this double running back first round pick maybe is a bit reaching, but I don't mind it. I think that you're considering 2 Notre Dame running backs in the first round. I think this will be good for Seattle because they're always that 1-2 punch type of team. So with that being said, that concludes the first round of the NFL draft. My overall pick is a little bit underwhelming, but what else would you expect? I think a lot of guys went very quickly off the top. Remember, our first couple picks here were Mendoza, Bailey, Love, Tates. Then you had Reese going to the Giants. I think it was good. Delane, Styles, Tyson. And then you had the Rams taking Simpson 13th overall, which I think is pretty crazy to think. I did not expect them, at least on my mocks, didn't have them going that high. But ultimately, again, I might be a casual, but I'm just here for the entertainment, to be honest. And I think that there's another decent first-round draft. And we'll see what the rest, if there's any other picks in store. Because you got to remember, it goes beyond the first round, right? Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick. Tom Brady's a 6th-round pick, right? So, there's still a lot of ball left to happen. All right? So, with that being said, appreciate you guys. DULCIFYZ is back into action, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.